પોતે પોતાનો સર્વાંગી વિકાસ કરી શકે તે છે. કારણ કે જો કોઈ પણ વ્યક્તિની મોટાભાગનો સમય તેની બેઝિક નીડ્સ કે રિક્વાયરમેન્ટમાં પૂરો થતો હોય, રોટી, કપડાં અને મકાનમાં, તો પછી તે આગળ પોતાનો બૌદ્ધિક વિકાસ સાધી શકવાનો નથી. પરંતુ જો રાજ્ય તરફથી એવી ગેરંટી હોય કે આટલા ન્યૂનતમ અધિકારો મળશે, એમાં નાગરિકે ચિંતા કરવાની જરૂર નથી, તો પછી નાગરિક આગળ પોતે પોતાનો બૌદ્ધિક વિકાસ કરી શકે. અને જો તે બૌદ્ધિક વિકાસ કરશે તો આખા રાષ્ટ્રનો સર્વાંગી વિકાસ થશે. આમ કોઈ પણ દેશમાં, કોઈ પણ રાષ્ટ્રમાં કોઈ પણ જાતની પ્રણાલિકા હોય, ત્યાં તે લોકશાહી હોય કે સમાજવાદી હોય કે સાવ ઓટોક્રેટ હોય, તો પણ માનવ અધિકારો એ બહુ જ મહત્ત્વના છે. માત્ર વ્યક્તિના વિકાસ માટે નહીં, પણ દેશના વિકાસ માટે પણ. તો આ માનવ અધિકારો એનો આગળ આપણે જોઈએ કે 1945 પછી શું થયું, એનો કઈ રીતે આગળ વિસ્તાર થયો દુનિયામાં અને સંયુક્ત રાષ્ટ્રમાં બધે અને આપણા દેશમાં, એ આપણે બહુ જ વિસ્તૃતમાં જોઈશું પ્રોફેસર નિપાબેન પાસેથી. નિપાબેન.
ગુડ ઇવનિંગ ફ્રેન્ડ્સ. આજે આપણે હ્યુમન રાઇટ્સનો બેઝિક કોન્સેપ્ટ આપણે મહેતા સાહેબ પાસેથી જાણ્યો. હવે આ હ્યુમન રાઇટ્સને આંતરરાષ્ટ્રીય સ્તરે શું સ્થાન છે અને હ્યુમન રાઇટ્સનું આંતરરાષ્ટ્રીય કક્ષાએ ક્યાં ક્યાં એના રિફ્લેક્શન્સ પડે છે એનું આપણે ડિસ્કશન કરીએ. આજના મારા સેશનમાં હું આપની સમક્ષ જે મુખ્ય પોઈન્ટ રજૂ કરવા માગું છું તે કદાચ આ પ્રમાણે જોઈ શકાશે. પહેલાં તો હું ડિસ્કસ કરીશ કે વોટ ઇઝ હ્યુમન રાઇટ્સ. ધેન આફ્ટર વી વિલ ડિસ્કસ વિચ આર ધ ઇન્ટરનેશનલ કોવેનન્ટ્સ on human rights. Third point will be principal human rights guaranteed under the conventions, and the last point, human rights as reflected in Indian Constitution. Now friends, let us discuss about the definition or meaning of human rights. As per the layman language or as per the layman sense, what should be the meaning of human rights? If you are a human being, you must be treated differently. That difference is the meaning of human rights. As per the Longman Dictionary, you can see on the screen, human rights are the political, social and other advantages to which one has claimed morally or legally. So human rights are political, social and other advantages. This whole phrase, political, social and other advantages, prescribes the kinds of human rights. Which are the political human rights? Friends, to cast a vote in general election is considered as political rights. To have election with stipulated period is considered as political rights. Which are the social rights? Those rights or those conditions which are necessary to be the social animal. We all are knowing that human being or a man is a social animal. So to be with society and to be within the society is also the fundamental right, which is in legal language called human right. So political, social and other advantages. Here these other advantages are known or stipulated as per the rights. These rights sometimes considered as advantages, sometimes they are considered as privileges, or as per Professor H.J. Lusky, rights are considered as necessary conditions of life. So these phrase other advantages, if they are not claimed either morally or legally, they are not considered as human rights. See friend, for example, if you are hired in one multinational company where you are offered $10,000 per month, after passing 1 month, if salary is not paid to you, And if you are not claiming that salary after expiry of that 30 days, if you will not claim, the company will not pay. So if you are not claiming the rights, you will not able to enjoy the rights. This is the meaning of claim. If not claim, you will not going to enjoy these rights. So as per this Longman dictionary, human rights are only political, social and other advantages which are available to man or a human being as and if it is claimed either morally or legally. But friend, as per the Indian constitution or legal provisions prevailing in India, only those rights who are available or in force or enforced by the court of India or by the legislative power, if they are declared, then only you can claim it legally. Otherwise, on morality basis, you can never claim human rights when we are talking about Indian perception. So as per Longman dictionary, this is the meaning. Now as per Professor H.J. Lusky, who has described the definition of right, but it is very near and easy, it will make easy to understand the meaning of human rights. Professor Lusky described rights as rights are those conditions of life which are necessary and without which one cannot be at best of his life. So if these human rights are not available, you are not able to live life as a human being. So this is the definition, not perfect definition of human right, but in this definition right is described. Now let us go through the slide in which Professor Durgadas Basu has described the definition of human rights. As per the slide where Durgadas Basu says that human rights are those social, political and economical rights which are protected by the courts, and these rights are minimum rights which must be available to every individual because he is the member of the human family. In the perfect word of Durgadas Basu, you can read it from the slide that human rights are those minimum rights which every individual must have against the state or other public authority by virtue of his being a member of human family irrespective of any other consideration. હ્યુમન રાઇટ્સ અથવા તો માનવ અધિકાર તે એવા મિનિમમ અથવા તો લઘુત્તમ કક્ષાના અધિકારો છે જે દરેક માનવીને પ્રાપ્ત થવા જોઈએ. કોના દ્વારા? રાજ્ય દ્વારા અથવા તો અધર ઓથોરિટી. જે ઓથોરિટીને રાજ્યએ આવી સત્તા આપેલી છે તેવી અધર પબ્લિક ઓથોરિટી દ્વારા દરેક માનવીને પ્રાપ્ત થવા જોઈએ. વાય? Because the person is the member of human family. આપણે બધા જ માનવીય કુટુંબનો એક ભાગ છે. માટે we are entitled to these kind of human rights. Now, these human rights are irrespective of any consideration. It is not so that first you pay consideration or you fulfill some conditions and then these rights will be available. No, because you are human being, you are fulfilling all criteria, all conditions to avail all kinds of human rights. Let me give you an example. If at your doorstep a beggar came, he asked for some food. Dear friends, you just think, how will you provide him the food? If he is having some utensil or vessel, you will give him the bread in his vessel. If he is not having any kind of vessel or utensil with him, you will give him the food either in any kind of plastic bag or you will provide a box to keep the food with him. Now think other situation. If an animal came to your doorstep, and he is standing outside your door. How will you provide that animal the food? You will throw the bread on land, right? Why we are providing food in hand to the human being and on ground to the animal? This is called the dignity of a life of a human being. So, we are entitled to human rights. This is not the word which you can define in precise language or in perfect words. It can be differ from situation to situation, from life standard of one person to another person. We are providing food to the beggar in hand or in some box because the opposite is your family member like human being. And other way, the animal, you are never giving food in well prepared box to the animal. That is not the dignity. The dignity is always with the human being. So this is I want to convey that what is the meaning of dignity as a human being. And so these human rights are available only to the human beings. Now these human rights are inherent, which starting from the birth. So it is called inherent, it goes with you. They are inalienable rights, non-transferable rights. You can never transfer your human right to anybody. This human right is unconditional. Because you are human being, you are available to these rights. So this is the basic definition of human rights. I hope you all follow the definition of human rights. Now let us shift from the definition of human rights to the international status of human rights. You can see through the slide that what is the situation in international standard of the human rights. Human rights started, or the legal movement started, when the United Nations organization came into existence. From very start, in the year of 1948, General Assembly of United Nations adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. As soon as the United Nations organization existed, from the very first year, we have the Convention of Human Rights with us. This Universal Declaration of Human Rights came into force on the date of 10th December 1948. Friends, on this 10th December, General Assembly of United Nations passed the resolution, and that resolution is known as Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So my dear friends, we are celebrating 10th December as Human Rights Day. It is not that merely by opting any date we are celebrating these special days. There is some reason after the celebration or behind the celebration of Human Rights Day, because the declaration was passed on that day. To give the importance of that day, we are celebrating 10th December as Human Rights Day. Now what this Universal Declaration of Human Rights? See, when the declaration was drafted, the situation started, or the movement started from the year 1946, when draft committee was given the task to draft the declaration, Universal Declaration relating to human rights. After drafting the whole declaration, they sent the copies of this draft declaration to various governments. Which governments? Those states who are the member states of UNO. So all the member states received the draft declaration from the United Nations organization. after sending the draft declaration to each and every governments, comments were demanded, thoroughly scrutinization was taken place, and from that scrutinization and the recommendations received from various governments, after making it very clear and precise but with the full or vast field of human rights, United Nations passed this declaration in the year of 1948. It took 2 years after the drafting, and it came into existence or in force in the year of 1948. Now this draft declaration starts from the very first article, which is very much important. It says, all human beings born free and with the dignity. They are equal, they are dignified persons because they are human beings. Article 1 states, again I am repeating, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Rights stipulates human rights or those rights which are available to each and every state. This Universal Declaration of Human Rights contains total 30 articles. If you would like to study in detail, we can distribute the whole declaration in 4 parts. The first part contains the general provisions like Article 1 and 2, which stipulates who are entitled to human rights. The second part, which starts from Article 3 to Article 21 as per the slide. You can see that Part 2 contains civil and political rights, which are stipulated under Articles 3 to 20. Now, which are these political rights?